So now let us go to our passage. And today, in the particular scenario, I've explained the background, is just to look at what is our war and what are we fighting for? What are we actually protecting and defending? Our passage again is Philippians chapter 1, verse 27 and 28. It's the passage that contains the commandments. I just keep repeating the commandments, which Philippians chapter 2, verse 12 is expecting us to obey. So those commandments are in verse number 27 and 28, and then in in chapter 2, verse 1 to 4. Those are the immediate commandments that 2 verse 12 expect us to obey. So in 127 it says, only let your manner of life be worthy of the gospel of Christ, so that whether I come and see you, I'm absent, and may hear of you that you are standing firm. I want you to underline this word standing firm, in one spirit. Okay, unity, oneness of mind, or oneness of people, with one mind, oneness of mind. Again, you see unity there. Then I wanted to underline this also, striving side by side for the faith of the gospel. Striving side by side for the faith of the gospel. Underline that. And then verse 28, and not frightened in anything by your opponents. Do not be frightened in anything by your opponents. What I want you to see, and especially those areas I've asked you to underline there, is that church unity is a fight. Those are terminologies of fight. Stand fast. Stand fast. Don't give up. Be steadfast. And then you find striving side by side. The word there for striving side by side is actually like locking hands together. Do you know where that came from? I said it in one of my sermons and I wanted to get it again. That idea was a military strategy. It was a military strategy that was engineered by King Philip. And are we not dealing with the book of Philippi? The city of Philippi was named after King Philip. King Philip was the father of Alexander the Great, if you know something about Alexander the Great. And he was a great warrior. He came up with a strategy of war and he won a lot of wars. And the strategy was usually his military will lock themselves hand in hand as they fight the opponents. So it's like, we will advance. You can't break through to get our territory. You can't break through to get anything that we treasure in our land. Instead, we will be moving. You see, for you to penetrate, you must put the other person down. You see, so they did that and they were winning. And so when Paul uses that terminology in a letter written to the Philippians who understand it, again, the city of Philippi is a city of ex-vets, right? Ex-military people. And the emperor had given the city as a gift to those who have fought in war and come back. Hey, receive it, get the land, build, stay there, be citizens. So they were blessed. So they understand. So think about what is going on in their minds. Wow, we used to fight wars, defend our land, defend our king, defend our valuables. Now, church is what we fight for, using the same terminology, standing steadfast and fighting. And there is an opponent that we are fighting. So, church unity is war. I didn't say it. We see that Paul says it there. Now, so church unity is war. And I'm going to present in another video, hopefully soon, how Ephesians chapter 6. I want you to take note. Ephesians chapter 6 from verse 10 is about church unity. When it speaks of spiritual warfare, it's about church unity. Just take note of this. When you go to that Ephesians chapter 6, take note to begin with finally. Finally is a conclusion. Nobody goes to the conclusion and brings up a new idea. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the might of his strength. And then he goes on to say, therefore, put on the full armor of God. What is he saying? I've told you a lot of things, and the conclusion in this matter is, be strong in the Lord. Stand strong on the things that I have told you. Stand fast and be unshakable on the things that I have told you. The devil would fight those things. He would try to disrupt those things. He would try to bring disunity, because what has he been telling them all about? Go check it out. It has been the biggest thing throughout the book of Ephesians is church unity. The devil will be assaulting, will be fighting, but I want you to stand fast on the things I have told you. The things I have told you is the truth. Put it on as a belt and be standing strong to fight for it. Okay? So it's a passage on church unity. And it's what? Spiritual warfare. That's why I said church unity is a war. And you should at least know two passages. If you don't know nothing, two passages. Philippians chapter 2 verse chapter 1, verse 27 and 28, it says church unity is a war. Ephesians chapter 6, spiritual warfare passage, is about church unity. It's a war. Keep that in your mind. Note that if you want to investigate, go read it and be convinced that you saw scripture say so. Jerry did not say that. It's not Jerry's idea. You saw it and you are obeying your Lord because you see it, and you can also show it to some other person. You can say, I know why I stand on this. I don't stand on this because Jerry said it. I stand on this because that's what the passage says, and I have seen it, and I know it, and I can show it. It's abundantly clear.